What is up, guys? So you can probably tell by the way I'm sweating profusely that I'm in the reptile room, which also seconds is my workout room. So today I just wanted to go over a Savannah monitor setup, talk a little bit about it, about how much it costs, the cost of a Savannah monitor, if it's something you want to get into, the level of care, husbandry, who are they good for, and all that good stuff. I'm gonna try and cover every little thing I can think of without making the video more than about 8 minutes. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it down below. I'm still editing on my GoPro, so the quality is not gonna be the best and the edits aren't gonna be the best. But this is something that I just wanted to cover because you can make a really cool enclosure for not very much if you're kind of a DIY person like I am. So stay tuned. All right, so this is the Savannah monitor enclosure, and this is a baby Savannah monitor. He's only about 5 inches long. And first of all, I wanted to go over the tank. So for this tank, this is a terrarium from like Petco, but they charge way more for the terrarium. It is 36 by 18 by like 17. Right now, they have a sale going on where you can get a 40-gallon breeder, which is the same exact size, for 50% off. So I picked up one for like $49.99, which is a really good deal. And then you can always make a lid or buy a lid. The terrariums come with lids, which is nice, but I'd rather save, you know, probably $70 and just make a lid. And then for the lighting, I have one heat and one UVB. And then this is just a little hide / basking rock that I have. And for the babies, I like to keep the temperature, the hot spot temperature, around 105, 110 degrees. Some people might say a little hotter, but that's what I'm going with, and gonna see how that works out. Kind of pay attention to his attitude and if he sits in that spot often. And then in my reptile room, the ambient air temperature stays around 84 to 85 degrees. I do have an AC in here, but I keep it, you know, just enough to not make it scorching hot because I am in Louisiana and it's 100 degrees outside every day in the summertime. So next, for a substrate, I used a natural soil. It's kind of like a silt, more so. And I sprayed it down with Preventamite just to kill any bugs in it. And then I have Repti chips for the top. That way they can hold moisture. If you want to kind of soak them, they hold moisture very well. They don't mold. So that's a good substrate that I use for pretty much everything except, like, you know, bearded dragons and the obvious stuff. I also spray that with Preventamite, which I pretty much use on everything because I'm just paranoid about mites and bugs. So next, they love to hide and burrow. So I have this little 3D printed hide you can see back here. I made that myself, and you can also find them on like Etsy for relatively cheap, but I wanted to give them plenty of spaces to hide. This shelving hide in the back I made out of mortar and foam, which I'll probably do some videos on how to make those. It's very inexpensive. It's kind of time consuming, but it's a really cool, inexpensive way to make custom hides. And, you know, if you were to go buy something like this at Petco, it would probably cost you $40. So I also, for a food bowl, I made this same process, foam and mortar, and it is about 2 inches deep. So it gives them a little time to eat the mealworms, superworms, before they can actually crawl out. And on the back side, you can't really see it, but there's kind of a little step for them to make it a little easier. And then just your decorations, you know, the typical monkey skull, a little cactus, and some branches that I cleaned. These are oak branches that I got out of my yard. And obviously there's no turtles in here, but before I got a bigger tank for some turtles, I did have them in here. So that's why I still have the attack turtle, so beware. Overall, if you kind of do this enclosure yourself with lighting and everything, you're looking at $50, and then a bag of substrate, which will cost you about $20 to $30 depending on the company you get it from. So let's say $80 for that. If you make your own custom hides, that's very inexpensive. Pretty much need your time, a bag of sanded grout and some sealer and foam. So let's say, you know, the hides cost $20, and that's to make a good bit of them. And then branches you find out of your yard. This little water bowl, I just use these for now because they're easy to clean, and he's small, so it works out. So just for a little over $100, you have this really cool setup. Obviously, your bulbs, your UVB bulbs are kind of expensive, and your lamps, these are smaller lamps because I used a smaller wattage bulb, so they weren't crazy expensive. So let's say $40 for that. So let's say like under $200, you can have a whole setup and a Savannah monitor. So that depends on if you get it shipped, obviously, or if you pick it up from your local reptile show. But for about $200, you can have all this, and they are somewhat beginner friendly if you keep the temperatures right. You know, kind of have a humid spot for them. Maybe, I know I've seen other videos where people are using hides, like humidity hides for them. But for me, I just kind of keep a moist soil underneath, and I mist it about half the enclosure like every day. I don't want it to be too moist, but enough to where he can get what he needs. And then in my reptile room, it's already around 65–70% humidity. So I'll go ahead and see if we can find him, and you can see how small and cute the little Savannah monitor is. He's trying to hide from me. I just got him yesterday, so I'm trying not to handle him too much or at all. Let him settle in for, usually I give the animals like I don't know, about a 5-day period before I start handling them, just to get them comfortable. You don't want to stress them out. I mean, he's already been shipped and all that good stuff. So I let them kind of settle in, get used to their enclosure, make sure they're eating, which he ate right out of the bag, so that's a really good thing. But you can see he's really, really small. But we'll most likely be getting another one to put in here. I don't see a problem housing them together at this size. They have plenty of space. Obviously, this is like a whole forest to him. He's so small. So obviously, as they grow, they won't be able to be housed together. But for the time being, at this age, as long as they're both eating and you kind of pay attention, I don't see a problem housing, you know, 2 of them together. So that's about everything I can think of for, you know, the basic care and cost. They do eat crickets, mealworms, superworms, pretty much any of those typical insects, Dubais, all that good stuff. As they get older, you can feed them whole prey. You can feed them, you know, like lean, like 99% lean, ground turkey, mice, pretty much anything they can get down. They're carnivorous, and I have seen people kind of mix in fruits with their food as they get older, but I've tried that with my tegus, which is another species of lizard, but they don't like it. So we'll kind of see how this guy likes it as he grows. But for now, he'll be based on an insect diet, and I use a reptile calcium to put on those, you know, crickets and superworms, so he's getting all of his vitamins. So yeah, guys, just if you have any questions, drop down below. Let me know if y'all would be interested in a video on how to make these like bowls and hides out of foam. It's a super cool little touch to your enclosures and very cheap, fun little DIY for the family, and they look great. But thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.